Okay, hi everyone. I don't think anyone's logged on or anything like that. This is just my first live stream actually. So I'm just seeing how it goes really. And I'm really interested to see if anyone logs on or if anyone even watches this. But I'll explain in a minute, but I'm thinking about using live streams in order to solve a few problems that I have at the moment associated with the channel. Also in this live stream, I wanted to talk about, which is related to this point, the relationship between our short run total cost curve and long run total cost curve. So that's what I'm going to do today. I do have some notes just to help me in terms of guiding what I wanted to say, because I've never live streamed before in my life, so I have no idea how this is going to go. But the real, not problem, but the situation is that I am so heavily pregnant at the moment. I am hopefully going to have my second child in the next couple of weeks, kind of thing. And I've noticed during my pregnancy that I've really slowed down on my uploads to Econ Help. And I think different pregnancies can go different ways, and you can be more or less motivated to do things. So I've kind of been doing less over the last little while, and I felt guilty about that, and I've been doing more tutoring and but the problem is that in my channel I have like all these built up requests for videos and people wanting clarification on different sorts of topics that I've spoken about in my videos. And I just think that, for the rest of this year and probably for most of next year, given that I'm going to have lots of small children around, I just don't know that I'll have much capacity to be able to do my videos like I have been doing them, which is when I script things out. If you've seen my videos, you'll know that I'm careful to script things out, and I'm kind of meticulous with my videos, and I really care about them a lot. So if you see some of my videos, they actually take me a really long time to complete, but I just don't know whether I'm going to be able to do that in the future. But I would really like to keep the channel going in some capacity and continue to do some stuff on economics and teaching economics. And I've got all these requests from these lovely subscribers who have wanted information about different things, and I've kind of promised it as well. And I ultimately don't get around to doing a lot of this stuff. So I was thinking maybe, hopefully, if I can just work through some of the material that people have asked me questions about through live stream, which will be less proper than the sorts of videos that I've been doing so far. But maybe if I can then grab that live stream video and then edit it and then kind of come up with something that will help people, then maybe that's the way I can kind of do the channel over the next year or so. So that's what I wanted to do today. It would also be cool if, and you can give me feedback if anyone watches this, or if anyone has any sort of opinion on whether it's a good idea, if I scheduled live streams and then, people could ask me questions in real time about different things, whether that would be a good idea or whether that would be something you're interested in. The one that really made me think about live streaming as an option for the channel was kind of this kind of very shameful interaction that I had here. You can see it's 4 months ago. This video, which this user commented on, is about the relationship between the long run marginal cost curve for the firm and how we construct that from or how we can see that as it relates to the long run average cost curve for the firm. And it's really the same sort of idea, this relationship between our long run and short run cost curves. And this user really wanted an explanation or, me to talk about linking the long run cost curves to the short run cost curves. And this was as it relates to our total cost curves. And I said kind of 4 months ago that I'll do a video and I'll post it here. And I did do a video, but it didn't kind of cover everything and I didn't post it on them. And part of that is my anxiety around going back to my videos and looking what I've said before, because I post things and then I get super anxious about them. And I don't like to go back and hear my voice or look at what I've done kind of previously. And then someone has just reminded me, have you made this kind of connection video? So there was one video that I did which was all about our total cost curve. And if I just draw it here, I can draw it here. And I'm also going to have to learn how to manage, if I continue to do it, chats and stuff like that, because I don't really know how to. I'm new at this, but I did one video where I was thinking about our short run and long run total cost curves, but I was explaining the shape of our long run total cost curves, because it looks like this. If we have costs on the vertical axis and quantity, and this will be our long run quantity, our long run total cost curves looks like this. It's increasing at an increasing rate, typically. And I can talk about that in a second as well. But typically our long run total cost looks something like this. And if you look at a diagram like this, there's, a few things that we need to explain about this. The first thing is the shape of this curve. How do we explain the general shape of increasing an increasing rate, and then increasing at a decreasing rate, and then increasing at an increasing rate? And that one I did do a video on. So I'll update the description to that video, which was just one of my standard videos that I usually script out, and I'm very careful and I heavily edit and all of that sort of stuff. The thing that I wanted to talk about in this stream is the link between the long run, this one, and the short run cost curves. And the logic really follows the same sort of logic that you will see when we talk about the long run average cost curve, for instance, which often looks like this. It will look like this. It's kind of got this wide U shape. This is long run average cost curves. And our short run average cost curves. And what we say is that the long run average cost curves is a lower envelope of our short run cost curves. So the idea is that in the short run, the quantity that the firm produces is a function of, our inputs to production, and usually we just model this as capital and labor. And in the short run, one of these inputs to production is fixed. Now, in the real world, or in more complex models, we have many, many more inputs to production, than just capital and labor. But the idea is that we're just going to simplify it to 2, just so, if we were going to think about model cost minimization and things like that, it's much easier if we just keep it to 2 inputs to production. Just for ease, we often just say capital is fixed. And also there's kind of easy stories, about only having so many machines or something like that. And we can change the amount of labor. So that's in the short run. The level of capital is fixed. In the long run, our level of capital can take any value, just like labor. So you might hear this as capital and labor are both variable. There's no fixed inputs to production we can choose. Okay, good. So that's kind of one distinction that we need. The next distinction that we need is to understand that the firm in economics, our model of how the firm acts, the firm is a cost minimizer. That is the decisions that they make about how much or what ratio of capital and labor they use, or the sorts of inputs that they use and in what proportions, that comes from a cost minimization process. Okay, good. So it follows that when we have our long run curves, our long run average cost curve, a long run total cost curve, the cost associated with producing a given quantity comes from a cost minimization process. Our firms are really going to choose the cheapest way in which that they can make some quantity. So, if we wanted to make here Q prime, the average cost associated with that, average cost prime, that cost is the result of a cost minimization process. And the idea is really that, okay, well, that cost minimization process will tell us about how much capital and how much labor we can use, the cheapest way to make this quantity Q prime. And of course, that corresponds to some level of capital. We can imagine then a cost curve that has that amount of capital fixed, or the cost curves, the short run cost curves associated with that fixed amount of capital. And so for any Q prime, we're going to have, and if you recall, I'll just put up here, our cost curves for our firms are often something like this. For our short run cost curves, we'll have our average costs and our marginal costs and average costs. You might see average variable costs as well. And these all apply, they tell us about the marginal cost or the average cost when capital is fixed at some level. So there is a set of short run cost curves associated with the level of capital that minimizes our average costs in the long run. That's the level of capital we are choosing. So the idea with our long run average cost curve is that there is an associated short run average cost curve. And sorry, I shouldn't draw it like this because I don't mean to say that this point is at the minimum. It doesn't need to be. It could be the case that with this level of capital, for instance, let's try and do it a bit, because it always has to lie above. With this level of capital, if we increased our quantity, our average cost might drop. But what I mean to say is that it's tangent to our long run average cost. It's short run average cost curve here. Is that if we had this level of capital associated with this short run average cost curve, then if we increased our quantity that we were producing, it looks like, and hopefully it's probably pretty small, our short run average costs are lower than what before, but you can see I'm still above my long run average cost curve. So there's actually another level of capital that's more appropriate for that level of quantity, if that makes sense. Sorry if it doesn't make sense. Usually I script everything. This is why I script everything, because otherwise I worry that I miss things or I'm not clear enough. So at every point along our long run average cost curve, for every long run quantity that we want to produce, let's say it's here, Q prime prime, that long run average cost, which comes from a process of cost minimization where our firm can choose whatever levels of capital and labor that they want, that's going to correspond to some level of capital, and we can think about a set of short run cost curves that correspond to that level of capital. So here it would be something like this. Might be something like this. And we're just tangent right at that point. Short run average cost. Something like that. That's short run average cost, like number 2. And so we can think about actually at every point on the long run average cost curve being associated with a set of short run average cost curves. So we can think about, well, if we just had all of the short run average cost curves, we would just take the lower envelope. We would trace it out, and that would trace out our long run average cost curve. So that's the idea about the long run average cost curve as the lower envelope. And of course, and it follows from this that there would not be any short run average cost curve that would go below our long run average cost curve, because that would imply that for this quantity, for instance, there is some level of capital associated with this short run average cost curve that I have here, that is cheaper on average. So, but we can't have this. This is not allowed, because we know that our firms are cost minimization. Our firms are minimizing their costs. So the long run average cost curve, which comes from this process of cost minimization, is the lower envelope. There's no short run average cost curve that goes below it. That would be contradictory. With our long run total cost curve, we have exactly the same thing. So I won't talk about the shape here of this long run total cost curve. We know it increases at a decreasing rate and then increases at an increasing rate. I'll refer you to that video, which is much neater than what I'm doing at the moment. But we can also see with this long run total cost curve, we can also make the same sort of argument that if you're thinking about some quantity in the long run, here, Q prime, for instance, there's a long run total cost associated with producing Q prime, which is the result of a cost minimization process where our firms can, where they can choose capital and labor however much they want. And that level of capital that's associated with that minimization, we can think about the firm's short run total cost curve associated with that level of capital. So in this case, it might look something like this. It might look something like this, because this is the way short run total cost curve. And so just in the same way, maybe this is Q prime here, that we can think about the long run average cost curve as the lower envelope of our short run average cost curves. We can think about the long run total cost curves as the lower envelope of a series of short run, what might this look like? It might look like that or something like that, of the short run total cost curves. So, and actually after that I think about it, I do have a video as well about this, which is a better, neater discussion about what I've done here. The video that I'm really missing, which is the reason why I wanted to do a live stream, just to explain it, because I just don't think with the pregnancy I'm going to be able to do many of the, or not really the pregnancy, it's the baby that's there's a lot of the work. That it was this one that was really missing from the suite of information that's on my channel at the moment. So my biggest apologies to these lovely subscribers who have asked for things and who are reminding me of things that I promised. And I'm so sorry that I didn't kind of get to it, but I didn't get to it in a more formal manner. I would have really liked to. But I hope that the explanation that I gave here is sufficient, and perhaps I'll see how this video comes out, but I can edit something out as a more formal response, or just give you the link to this live stream. But that's about it. I'm going to hello, I've got someone on the actually talking to me, which is super exciting. Hello. Hello, Jun. So anyway, I'm interested to hear if anyone has any opinions about whether I should do more live streaming. Oh, you're so sweet. That's really nice. It's really nice to hear from you guys. I think that if you weren't here from the beginning, the reason why I was doing live stream is because I'm about to have a baby and I'm not sure I can do many videos over the next year, but I might just do live streams if it works out. Thank you so much for watching me, everyone who watches me and watches my stuff, because I really like explaining economics, and I like hearing from you guys as well. And so I suppose that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. If there's anyone who has any questions, I can kind of see. I'm working my way through the mechanics of doing the live stream, which is all very new to me. So maybe if I do it more, hopefully I'll get better at it as well. But otherwise, just, if anyone has any opinions, I'm open to hear if you want me to do more live streams if I can. And if you think it's a good idea, or if you have any specific questions, or if it's been helpful, just let me know. But it's nice to hear from you guys. It's really lovely. And I suppose that's it. I'll probably sign off. And thanks for listening. And I hope you guys have a good day. Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, I could. Like just first year stuff. I'm just thinking about, I've just got in the chat, someone's asking about doing structured tutorials during live streams. Economics is one of those things where actually the first year stuff is pretty consistent. Like I do a lot of tutorials, like private tutoring, and the first year micro is like 90%, 95% consistent. Which is good for me because then you can make videos on it. And actually the second year stuff as well. Are you guys in university? I actually have to be careful because I think that there was something on the settings where you guys can't reply on the chat within 60 seconds. Yeah, I think some structure. So I'll think about it. But what might work? And if it's regular, then people, or I think that when I scheduled this one, no, that I get that as well. It's all like maximization, minimization, isn't it? It's like the same stuff over and over again. Like everything at some point, I don't know if you guys get this, but everything is just like Lagrangian. If you guys have ever done Lagrangian, where you just minimize or maximize something subject to a constraint. But the macro stuff, which I haven't done many videos on, is kind of cool. That's a bit different. And there are kind of philosophical points as well that are interesting that you can get really into, and the game theory stuff. But I know what you mean. Especially with the micro, sometimes it feels like it's just the same maths, isn't it? Especially that second and third year level where it's just like a Lagrangian. I don't know if you guys have done Lagrangian, but it's just like all Lagrangian. But there's also a lot of new stuff that's going around, which is kind of interesting. Though I do think there's a lot of philosophical insight and really interesting stuff. Not necessarily with all the minimization, maximization stuff, but that's the other thing I haven't really done is general equilibrium. It's another heap of stuff. Oh, there you go. And it's interesting. So macro and game theory, yeah. Macro is good, and macro is the one that's different. Like from what I've noticed, it's very different in different places of the world. So I've taught some students from the US, and I've taught some students from the UK, and I've taught from Australia, and it's different. And some lecturers really get into game theory. So everything is restated as a game theory problem, which is another interesting way to look at some of the results of microeconomics in the last 50 years. So, but like, and at those later levels, it really depends on what your lecturer really likes, I find, at least. But yeah, but good luck. Where are you guys from? Are you studying at the moment? In Australia, I think maybe some unis are back this week, but not many. I think it's next week that most people go back. But I'm going to have a massive break. But anyway, from tutoring. But okay, so that's good. Really good feedback though. Thank you for getting back. That's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting to teach so many students from different parts of the world. It's kind of it's been a nice way to just navigate kind of early parenthood, so I didn't have to kind of go back to proper work before, you know, I'll wait till my kids are older. But yeah, and I've had like 9 views, which is crazy. I thought this would get none, but just study hard, you know, and you get there. I think that with economics, it's and you gotta you sometimes gotta chase up your lecturers. I find with economics, it should all make sense. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go, but yeah, let me know in you know, if anyone has any feedback on doing more live streams. Yes, I could. Be more confident. You're doing great. Thank you so much. That's really sweet. When I do the, one of the reasons why I'm so slow with uploading videos is because I'm so anxious about it. So I script everything and it's really unnecessary. I really shoot myself in the foot. But I wish you, so Jay Wong, I hope you do great. Thank you so much for interacting with me. It's so sweet. I'll maybe talk to you guys next time. And maybe I'll just put more of a notice about when I'm going to do a time. Or you can always email me as well, which is it's econmathhelp@gmail.com. But I should have that. I'll put that up. So it's here. econmathhelp@gmail.com. Maybe I could even, because I have a website, maybe I could even, people could vote on a good time or something. But that's it. So good luck with your stuff, guys. Bye, you too. Nice to meet everyone. See you later.